Do you want to confidently grasp every nuance, every idiom, and every quick phrase in spoken English? Sometimes it feels like there's a hidden layer to native speech, but you can uncover it. Hi, and welcome to another video in the listening practice series on In English with Lisa. I create and narrate all these short stories personally, ensuring you get authentic human English free from any AI voices. What unexpected paths will this story lead you down, and what insights will it offer into natural English? Let's begin. The Siberian Cipher. Chapter 1. The Intercepted Signal. Dr. Katerina Volkov adjusted her headphones and leaned closer to the bank of monitors that cast an eerie blue glow across her cramped workstation. The basement facility beneath the nondescript office building in Prague hummed with the constant whir of servers and cooling systems. For 3 years, she had worked for the Linguistic Intelligence Division, a shadowy branch of an organization whose full name she had never learned. Her colleagues simply called it the agency. At 28, Katerina possessed a rare gift for languages and cryptography that had caught the attention of her recruiters during her doctoral studies in computational linguistics. She could decode patterns where others saw only chaos, find meaning in the seemingly random arrangement of letters and symbols that crossed her desk daily. Tonight, however, something different had arrived. The signal had been intercepted at 0347 hours by a listening post in Finland, bouncing off the ionosphere from somewhere deep in the Siberian wilderness. Unlike the typical military communications or diplomatic cables that usually landed on her desk, this transmission contained symbols she had never encountered before. The characters seemed to dance across her screen in patterns that suggested structure, yet defied every cryptographic technique in her arsenal. Working late again, Volkov? The voice belonged to Director Brennan, a heavy-set man whose Irish accent had survived decades of international assignments. He appeared at her shoulder, coffee mug in hand, squinting at the mysterious symbols scrolling past. "This came in from Station 7," Katerina replied, not looking away from her monitors. "It's unlike anything I've seen. The transmission originated from coordinates that place it somewhere in the Verkhoyansk range, probably within 100 kilometers of the research facility we've been monitoring." Brennan's expression grew serious. The facility in question was officially a meteorological station, but satellite imagery had revealed infrastructure far too sophisticated for weather research. For months, intelligence reports had suggested the Russians were conducting some form of advanced research there, though the nature of their work remained a mystery. "What makes you think it's connected?" Brennan asked. Katerina pulled up a frequency analysis chart. The transmission used the same carrier frequency as routine communications from the facility, but the encoding is completely different. It's as if they've developed an entirely new cipher system. Look at this pattern distribution. She highlighted sections of the captured data. The symbols appeared in clusters of varying lengths separated by consistent intervals. Some characters repeated frequently, while others appeared only once. The mathematical beauty of the pattern was undeniable, yet its meaning remained elusive. "How long to crack it?" Brennan's question carried the weight of urgency that Katerina had learned to recognize. "I don't know," she admitted. "This isn't just a substitution cipher or even a polyalphabetic system. The underlying structure suggests something more sophisticated, possibly algorithmic. It might need days, maybe weeks." Brennan frowned. "You have until tomorrow night. Intelligence suggests that whatever they're working on in that facility, they're close to completion. This transmission might be our only window into their intentions." As the director left, Katerina turned back to her screens with renewed determination. She began by isolating the most frequently occurring symbols, hypothesizing that they might represent common letters or word structures. Hours passed as she applied various analytical techniques, searching for the mathematical key that would unlock the cipher's secrets. At dawn, exhaustion began to cloud her thinking, but she pressed on. Something about the symbol distribution nagged at her, a pattern within the pattern that seemed familiar yet remained just beyond her grasp. She had encountered similar structures before in her graduate research on ancient writing systems, but this was clearly modern, sophisticated, and intentionally obscure. The breakthrough came as she compared the symbol frequency to linguistic patterns in various languages. The distribution didn't match Russian, English, or any Western language she knew. Instead, it showed characteristics similar to languages with logographic elements, Chinese, Japanese, or certain ancient scripts where symbols represented entire concepts rather than individual sounds. But there was something else, something that made her pulse quicken. Hidden within the mathematical relationships between symbols, she detected traces of a metastructure, a secondary layer of encoding that suggested the message contained not just information, but instructions for its own decryption. As she worked to unravel this digital puzzle, Katerina remained unaware that her intense focus on the Siberian transmission had triggered automated alerts in computer systems far from Prague. In a glass tower overlooking the Thames, and in a concrete bunker beneath the streets of Moscow, other analysts were taking notice of her activities. The young linguist had stumbled upon something that powerful people preferred to keep hidden, and her race against time was about to become far more dangerous than she could imagine. Chapter 1 Comprehension Questions. Number 1. What is Dr. Katerina Volkov's profession? A. A meteorologist studying weather patterns. B. A linguist and cryptographer working for an intelligence agency. C. A Russian scientist working in Siberia. The correct answer is B. A linguist and cryptographer working for an intelligence agency. Number 2. What makes the intercepted transmission unusual? A. It uses a completely unknown cipher system with unfamiliar symbols. B. It's broadcast in multiple languages simultaneously. C. It contains classified military information. The correct answer is A. It uses a completely unknown cipher system with unfamiliar symbols. Number 3. Where did the mysterious transmission originate? A. A listening post in Finland. B. An office building in Prague. C. A research facility in the Siberian wilderness. The correct answer is C. A research facility in the Siberian wilderness. Chapter 2. The pattern emerges. Katerina's second day working on the cipher began with a discovery that changed everything. After 6 hours of sleep and a strong cup of coffee, she returned to find that her pattern analysis software had identified recurring sequences that appeared at regular intervals throughout the transmission. These weren't random symbols, they were markers, digital signposts that divided the message into distinct sections. Working with renewed energy, she began treating each section as a separate puzzle piece. The first section contained the highest concentration of unique symbols, suggesting it might be a header or introduction. The middle sections showed more repetitive patterns, possibly the main content. The final section was the shortest, but contained the most complex symbol arrangements. Her computer workstation had grown into a command center overnight. Additional monitors displayed frequency analysis, symbol mappings, and comparison charts with known cipher systems. She had requisitioned processing time on the agency's quantum computers, using their advanced pattern recognition capabilities to search for structural relationships that human analysis might miss. The breakthrough came when she realized the symbols weren't representing letters or even words in the traditional sense. They were representing mathematical concepts, equations, formulas, and scientific notation disguised as an elaborate cipher. The transmission wasn't coded. It was a scientific paper written in a symbolic language designed to hide its true nature. Volkov, we need to talk. Director Brannan's voice carried an edge of tension she hadn't heard before. He gestured towards his office, and she noticed two other men in dark suits waiting there. "Is this about the cipher?" she asked as they walked. "Among other things." Brennan's reply was cryptic. "It seems your work has attracted some attention." In the director's office, the two strangers introduced themselves only as Collins and Reeves. Their credentials identified them as coming from a department Katerina had never heard of, but their demeanor suggested authority that superseded even Brennan's. "Dr. Volkov," Collins began, "we understand you've made progress on the Siberian transmission." "Some progress, yes. I believe it contains scientific information, possibly research data encoded as—" "We need you to stop," Reeves interrupted. The words hit her like a physical blow. "Stop? But I'm close to a breakthrough. Give me another 12 hours and I can—" "The transmission is being handled by another department now," Collins explained. "Your sigil— La rifazzo. "The transmission is being handled by another department now," Collins explained. "Your security clearance doesn't extend to this material." Katerina looked at Brennan, hoping for support, but the director avoided her gaze. "Sir, with respect, I've spent 36 hours on this. I understand the pattern structure better than anyone else possibly could. You need me to finish this." Collins and Reeves exchanged glances. "Dr. Volkov, there are aspects of this situation you're not aware of. The facility in Siberia isn't just conducting research, it's developing technology that could destabilize international security. The less you know, the safer you'll be." But Katerina's scientific curiosity had been fully aroused. The mathematical elegance of the cipher haunted her thoughts. Even as she returned to her workstation to collect her materials, her mind continued processing the patterns she had discovered. The symbols weren't just encoding information, they were encoding revolutionary scientific concepts that someone desperately wanted to keep secret. That evening, working from her apartment, she violated every security protocol she had ever agreed to. Using her personal computer and an encrypted connection to the agency's servers, she accessed the partially decoded transmission. What she found made her blood run cold. The message was indeed a scientific paper, but not just any research. It detailed the successful creation of a room-temperature superconductor, a breakthrough that would revolutionize technology and shift global power balances overnight. The Siberian facility hadn't just discovered this technology, they had weaponized it, creating applications that could render existing military defense systems obsolete. But there was more. Hidden within the technical specifications, she found references to other research projects, other facilities, and a timeline that suggested this technology would be deployed within weeks. The transmission wasn't just sharing research, it was coordinating a network of scientists working on different aspects of the same terrifying project. As she worked through the night, decoding more sections of the message, Katerina began to understand why Collins and Reeves had wanted her to stop. This wasn't just about international security, it was about preventing a fundamental shift in global power. The cipher contained enough information to allow other nations to replicate the technology, but it also revealed vulnerabilities that could be exploited to neutralize the threat. By dawn, she had translated nearly 80% of the transmission. The final sections contained coordinates, operational schedules, and what appeared to be shutdown codes for the Siberian facility's security systems. Someone inside the facility was trying to get this information out, perhaps to prevent the technology from being used for destructive purposes. Katerina realized she faced an impossible choice. Following orders meant allowing potentially catastrophic technology to remain in the hands of those who would use it as a weapon. Continuing her work meant betraying her oath to the agency and putting herself in grave danger. But as she stared at the decoded sections of the message, she knew that some secrets were too dangerous to keep and too important to abandon to others who might not understand their full implications. Chapter 2, Comprehension Questions. Number 1. What does Katerina discover about the nature of the coded symbols? A. They represent letters in an ancient language. B. They represent mathematical concepts and scientific notation. C. They are random symbols with no actual meaning. The correct answer is B. They represent mathematical concepts and scientific notation. Number 2. Why do Collins and Reeves want Katerina to stop working on the cipher? A. She doesn't have the proper security clearance for the material. B. The transmission contains false information meant to mislead. C. Her work is taking too long and delaying other projects. The correct answer is A. She doesn't have the proper security clearance for the material. Number 3. What revolutionary technology does the decoded message reveal? A. Advanced weather control systems. B. A room temperature superconductor with military applications. C. Artificial intelligence capable of breaking all encryptions. The correct answer is B. A room temperature superconductor with military applications. Chapter 3. The Double Game. The knock on Katerina's apartment door came at precisely 6 a.m. She had been expecting it since she'd made the decision to complete the decryption, knowing that her unauthorized access to the agency's servers would eventually be detected. Through the peephole, she saw Collins and Reeves, their expressions grim in the morning light. "Dr. Volkov, we need to discuss your activities last night," Collins said as she opened the door. She had prepared for this moment, copying the decoded transmission to multiple encrypted drives hidden throughout her apartment. "I assume you're here about the cipher." "Among other things," Reeves replied, echoing Brennan's words from the previous day. "You violated several security protocols." "And discovered information that changes everything," Katerina countered, leading them into her living room. "The Siberian facility isn't just developing superconductor technology, they're coordinating with multiple research sites. This transmission is part of a larger network." Collins sat heavily in her armchair. "What else have you decoded?" The question surprised her. She had expected threats, demands for the return of classified materials, perhaps even arrest, Instead, they seemed genuinely interested in her findings. The message contains operational schedules for 7 different facilities across Russia and Eastern Europe. Someone inside the network is trying to expose the entire operation, including security vulnerabilities and shutdown procedures. She paused, studying their faces. You already knew this, didn't you? Reeves and Collins exchanged the same meaningful glance she had observed in Brennan's office. Collins leaned forward. Dr. Volkov, there are aspects of this operation that extend beyond what you've been told. The agency has been tracking this research network for months, but we've been unable to penetrate their security. Your decryption work has provided the breakthrough we needed. Then why tell me to stop? Because we needed to know if you could be trusted, Reeves explained. Anyone can follow orders when the work is easy. We needed to see what you would do when faced with information too important to ignore. The revelation hit her like a physical blow. The entire sequence of events, the mysterious transmission, the order to stop working, even Collins and Reeves' intervention, had been an elaborate test of her dedication and integrity. The transmission wasn't random intelligence gathering, she realized aloud. It was a bait. Collins nodded. We've had an asset inside the Siberian facility for 8 months. The transmission was sent specifically to be intercepted, designed to appear as routine scientific communication while actually containing the intelligence we needed to shut down the entire network. But why the elaborate cipher? Why not use conventional encoding? Because conventional codes can be broken by conventional methods, Reeves answered. We needed something that would require true expertise to decode, something that would demonstrate the decoder's capabilities while also testing their discretion. Your reputation in computational linguistics made you the obvious choice. Katerina felt a mixture of relief and indignation. So, my entire career has been preparation for this moment? Your entire career has been leading to the opportunity we're about to offer you, Collins corrected. The Superconductor Research Network represents the most significant technological threat we've been faced in decades. Shutting it down will require someone who understands both the scientific principles and the communication methods they've developed. We need you to go to Siberia. The proposal was breathtaking in its audacity. Using the decoded shutdown procedures and security vulnerabilities, a small team could infiltrate the facility and neutralize the research before it could be weaponized. But success would require someone who could navigate their sophisticated communication systems and distinguish between legitimate research and dangerous applications. What about the other facilities in the network? Simultaneous operations, Reeves explained. Your decryption work has provided the intelligence needed to coordinate strikes across 7 countries, but the Siberian facility is the primary research center. Shut it down, and the entire network collapses. As they outlined the mission parameters, Katerina realized that her 3 years with the agency had indeed been preparation for this moment. Her expertise in linguistic analysis, her ability to recognize patterns in seemingly random data, and her dedication to uncovering hidden truths had all led to this convergence of skills and necessity. The final piece of the cipher had contained more than shutdown codes and security vulnerabilities. Hidden within the mathematical formulations, she had found a personal message from the asset inside the facility, a scientist who had realized the destructive potential of their research and risked everything to prevent its completion. The message was simple. The key to stopping this is understanding that some knowledge is too dangerous to exist. 3 days later, as her transport aircraft approached the coordinates she had first encountered as mysterious symbols on her computer screen, Katerina reflected on the journey that had brought her to this moment. The young linguist, who had thought she was simply decoding intercepted communications, had become a field operative tasked with preventing technological catastrophe. The Siberian wilderness stretched endlessly below, white and seemingly empty. But she knew that somewhere in that vast expanse a facility contained secrets that could reshape the world, secrets that she alone possessed the knowledge to neutralize. The cipher had been her test, her preparation, and ultimately her key to understanding the true stakes of the hidden war being fought in the shadows of international politics. As the aircraft began its descent towards the coordinates she had memorized in symbol form, Katerina knew that the most dangerous part of her mission lay ahead. The cipher had revealed the facility's vulnerabilities, but exploiting them would require courage that no amount of linguistic training could provide. The game of shadows and secrets was about to become very real, and the young woman who had once seen only patterns and puzzles was about to discover the true cost of the knowledge she had fought so hard to uncover. Chapter 3, Comprehension Questions. Number 1. Why did Collins and Reeves initially tell Katerina to stop working on the cipher? A. They wanted to test her dedication and integrity. B. The cipher contained false information. C. They had already solved it using other methods. The correct answer is A. They wanted to test her dedication and integrity. Number 2. What was the true purpose of the intercepted transmission? A. To share superconductor research with enemy nations. B. To serve as bait designed to be intercepted and decoded by the agency. C. To coordinate attacks on Western research facilities. The correct answer is B. To serve as bait designed to be intercepted and decoded by the agency. Number 3. What mission is Katerina ultimately assigned? A. To decode more transmissions from her office in Prague. B. To train other linguists in advanced cipher techniques. C. To infiltrate the Siberian facility and neutralize the research network. The correct answer is C. To infiltrate the Siberian facility and neutralize the research network. Epilogue. 6 months later, Dr. Katerina Volkov sat in a different basement facility, this one beneath the streets of London. The mission to Siberia had succeeded beyond all expectations. The research network had been dismantled, the dangerous technology contained, and the asset who had risked everything to send that first transmission had been safely extracted and relocated. The official reports credited advanced intelligence gathering and coordinating international efforts. They made no mention of a young linguist who had seen patterns where others saw chaos, or of the cipher that had served as both test and key to preventing technological catastrophe. Katerina's new assignment involved monitoring communications from a different corner of the world, searching for new patterns that might herald the next threat. Her desk bore a small memento from the Siberian operation, a fragment of the original transmission printed on paper, the mysterious symbols that had started her journey now seeming almost quaint in their complexity. Director Brennan had been promoted to oversee international operations. Collins and Reeves had returned to whatever shadowy department that had spawned them. But Katerina remained where she had always thrived, in the space between mystery and meaning, translating the incomprehensible into actionable intelligence. She adjusted her headphones and leaned toward her monitors, ready for whatever coded secret the night might bring. After all, There were always new ciphers waiting to be broken. The end.